where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by WorkSimple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.u.
Catch me every Military Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Lean Into Legacy.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching or listening all over the world. I am your host, JJ Mahoney, and I'm so excited to be here with you this Monday night with Justin Merchant. Justin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing real good. I'm so happy to have you on the show. It has been, I don't even know how many years since we saw each other.
Yeah, 20.
20 years. That is crazy. 20 years. What have you been up to, my friend?
All kinds of stuff. Busy. Life, kids, wife, work, military, volunteer work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's awesome. There's so much that has transpired since I last saw you, but also it just feels like yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's the hometown connection.
I love it. I love it. And it is so nice that no matter how much time passes, it's like we're still here, right?
Yeah.
It feels like just yesterday we were going to basketball games and football games and great memories.
Yeah, it's a fun town. At least when we grew up, it was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of our listeners that don't know you, let's start with your military experience. You want to dive into that a bit?
Yeah. Well, it started as a lot of people from our generation when 9/11 happened. I was at college at UNO. You watch it on the TV, you go to class, everyone's still kind of in a funk. And I thought, well, I want to do something, not quite sure what I was going to do. So I ended up joining up January 4th January 4th of 2002.
Wow.
That was the start of it. Many deployments, as we all did. Active duty guard, everyone kind of deployed a lot. It was a pretty common thing. A lot of fun, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of, I'm ready to get out. No, I want to stay in. You get over the hump and you just kind of tough it out to the end.
That's right.
Get to the retirement.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. I had a little bit different experience, Justin. For me, I remember joining. So I joined in May of 2002. So both of us, after September 11th. And I joined, and I remember I felt like I closed my eyes, opened them, and already it had been 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I remember that feeling happened again at 10 years. And then all of a sudden I'm at 15. And so it was like, holy goodness.
Yeah. When you reminisce, when you talk about it, especially the people that you were in the military with, sometimes it's like, man, that was like forever ago. Cause you start referencing like events that happened, events that kids now weren't even a part of. But then at the same time, it was like a flash in the pan.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I was talking to a mentor of mine today that, we've stayed in touch over the years. And we were talking about, just reminiscing about some of our days. We were at Fort Huachuca together. And I was telling him a story like had just happened yesterday. And I said, well, that was only 11 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd be curious if anybody's listening that's not a veteran, if they had those similar experiences too, or if it's something unique to how quickly the military flies by.
Right. Well, even as you get older, the timeline of things, it just seems like many lives lived, a lot of chapters, rather than just like what you did last week in high school.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh, it's just crazy. Well, tell me a little bit about your experience in the military. What was some, significant events for you?
Sure. My first deployment was to Turkey, Interlink, Turkey.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So that was kind of cool. It was a little different because it's the first time, when you live in the Midwest, you don't go a lot of places. So you're out of the country, you're kind of experiencing it, living it, taking it all in as you're going. It was busy. It was like early '03,
Yeah.
so everything was pretty hyped up at the time and busy. Um, Definite third world country when we got to go onto they call it the alley. Uh, there was kids running through the street wanting to thumb wrestle you for $1, whether you won or lost. Vendors trying to sell you things. They're capitalizing off of us being there. It was fun and it was weird at the same time. There was times when sirens would go off and planes would come out from underneath these kind of underground hangars and just take off like crazy, and uh, yeah, it's just a lot of the first deployment. I wish I could have been older and gone back there, taking it
Yeah.
in slower, it's kind of hit you like a fire hose. I mean, there was like a donkey in the middle of the street with like a cart still hooked to it, but it was dead and the dogs were like eating off of it, so like
Oh,
just like
that's
things
not
that
as
you're not
funny.
used to seeing. Really no windows, just I don't know. I mean, you can say third world countries, and we assume civilians here in the States, they think, I've seen it on movies and stuff, and they have, but to actually be there and see it, it's just different. They sleep on the roofs in the summer because it's
Yeah.
cooler, so yeah,
Wow.
that was the
You know,
first deployment. But yeah, a lot
I
too,
mean,
all over. I think I've everywhere I've gone overseas has been uh, military. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Afghanistan, Bagram, like a lot of us did. We were in Japan for a little bit. I went to Qatar a lot.
Mm.
With where there four deployments there. England like 12 times, Guam, Hawaii, which is not, Hawaii's not really a deployment, but it was on the way to Guam, and Guam's not, I wouldn't call Guam a deployment either, but,
Yeah.
as a offsite kind of
Sure.
helping out type of thing. And then, yeah, other ones, like you go to the bad ones and then you get some of the good ones. Like, we were doing some joint thing with, NATO. So we were in Geilenkirchen, Germany. So we got to go, and that's where my great grandpa had died in World War II. So I had linked up with some guys there, a curator, a museum, went to where he died at. His name was like on a wall there. The guy took me around because over in the Netherlands, Netherlands, they treat you like royalty if you are American, who your family member is a service member. And still to this day, there's like a cemetery with it's like a 5,000 graves with like a 7,500 person waiting list to adopt one. And so it was pretty cool. So
Okay.
a lot
Well,
of good ones, a lot of bad ones, right?
first of all, I want a refund.
You didn't join the right
I mean,
branch.
I know, right? I mean, I had some cool deployments,
Yeah,
experiences like of course, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait,
yeah,
um, Kyrgyzstan,
mhm,
um, Hawaii, Germany, South Korea.
yeah. Azores.
Visited. Yeah, exactly. But nothing like you. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's yeah. The first real combat landing we did was going into Afghanistan, which is like
Yeah.
feel like you're gonna eat the ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's definitely it's definitely a little alarming when you're doing already tactical maneuvers
yeah,
just to get into base.
like stay away from the window. It's like I'm sitting on like a fuel tank here. Like I don't think the window is gonna matter a whole lot. Yeah, thanks for my
Oh,
safety. But
right?
yeah, it was cool. There's a lot of cool things.
Yeah. How do you think that changed you getting to experience all those different cultures?
Oh man. Well, of course you appreciate things more. That's the common
Mm,
response that everyone gives you. And sometimes that being back here, being retired now, sometimes that drifts away. Uh,
yeah.
you know, feeling that a lot of times it's stronger when you just get home. But
Mm,
it changes you as far as discipline. There's good and bad, right? So I have 5 girls and 1 boy. So, you're over there, you're commanding troops, you're respected, they're calling you sir, they're doing what you tell them to do. And there's no questioning it. If there is, it's usually with some sturdy, you know, back talking back to them. And here it's like, they don't listen to anything, hardly anything.
That's, I never had that dynamic because I never had children, unfortunately, but I can't even imagine,
Yeah.
being used to total control, total respect,
Right.
and then
None.
who knows what's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it makes you more structured. It makes you more accountable, more disciplined. You know, you meet new people from all over the country, so you learn different cultures within the country, different states, ways of doing things. We were with Alabama a lot. We were with Maine. We were with Hawaii a lot. Pittsburgh, Wisconsin. So we got a big spectrum. All I can tell you is it's funny, but they take it seriously. Is the Alabama guys when they come in the room and you yell War Eagle, and
Oh,
and they flip out if they're Alabama, if they're Roll Tide fans.
I think that's one of the amazing things about being an American, though.
Yeah,
And it's funny that you naturally brought this up, but I get all my news from YouTube.
yeah,
Most of it from trusted,
right,
trusted podcasters and some news stations. But I have just been seeing a flood of videos of people from different countries,
right,
just amazed with America,
right. Yeah,
and talk. Have you seen some of those?
I heard at the World Cup
Yes.
they were doing flyovers and stuff, and people were like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. And I mean, everything from, people appreciating the cleanliness of the streets to they can't believe how good the steaks are here, to wow, the waitresses are so nice.
Right. You get a lot of
Um,
that in Germany and England, the
yes.
steaks thing. Uh,
Yeah.
you learn real quick, like your first meal over in England, like don't eat beef because it's not the same.
Not the
I'm
same.
not saying it's like bad. It's just not the same. So
That's
you do
right.
fish and chips a lot, and
That's
that's
right.
another thing, too, is the food cultures, all over. We had Hawaiian guys that, they snuck in spam to, you know, to cutter, and because they didn't know what it was, and they'd roll it up with rice and seaweed, and everyone had their own things that they're making. But the cool thing
Yeah.
is, like, when those KC-135, when those two hit and went down, it was crazy how not just my last deployment, but multiple people I've met over multiple deployments, you're
Mm.
still kind of in contact, and you all kind of triangulate who was this, who's jet, who's this, who's that, and you stay pretty tight with
Wow.
people. So
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah, you knew it was time to go. My last deployment, when they're calling me like boomer and old man, and so they respected me, but they are like acting like
Wow.
I'm old. I'm like, I'm not old. And so
Right.
on the flight line, when we were getting on the plane, they came to see me off, and I threw them a bag of Werther's Originals, like
Oh, like
old
the old
grandpas
man
do.
candy? That's
That
awesome,
was
Justin.
that was my final chapter overseas, which is
Wow.
hard because when we were in, I don't know if I know you deployed for a long period of time when you went. Um,
Mhm.
the guard would go somewhat shorter, depending, 90, 120 days, but we would uh, go so much that when I got out, about a year and a half, 2 years, you start getting that itch, like, hey, I'm
Mm.
ready. I'm ready to deploy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
still dealing with that. Like,
yeah.
when Iran happened, I'm like, all right, we're ready. We're gonna go, and I don't get to go. That's the hard part about walking away. The bittersweet. You're
It
done.
is.
You're checked out, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm giving up a pretty big part of me. That was over
Yeah.
half my life.
Yeah. Well, we have to take a quick
Yeah.
commercial break, Justin, but when we come back, I'm really excited to talking about the transition.
Okay.
I think that's a really important conversation, and I'm looking forward to having it with you.
Great.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
We're living the American dream. I'm the American dream. Go to school, go to work, Sunday mornings choose a church, attend our games, our plays, PTAs. Drive our cars, flying planes, take the buses, take the trains, walk the beach, ski the slopes, living out our dreams and hopes. We're living, yes, we're living the American dream. We're the American dream. Thank you, soldier, sailor, Airman, Guardsman, and Marine. Thank you all for fighting for our freedom and our dreams, protecting our Constitution, guarding our homes and towns, defending our shores, seas, and skies, and putting boots on the ground. Some gave all for me and you. We served the red, white, and blue, protecting the American dream. Thanks to you, living the American dream. We're the American dream. The world's become a smaller place, many creeds and one big race, staking our claim to the Creator. We have to find a way for each to still be different but live in peace. Till then, we must protect ourselves, 'cause we're living, yes, we're living the American dream. I'm the American dream. We're the American dream.
All right, we're back with JJ Mahoney and our special guest, Justin Merchant. And I'm so excited, Justin, real quick. I just want to say hello to some friends. John Herring, retired Command Sergeant Major, says, yeah, that itch never goes away. And John saying hi to one of our previous guests, Peter Hosky in the house. Hey, Peter, nice to see you. It's just great. Oh, it's great to have a fellow podcaster here. And Peter's saying hello, John. Hey, Peter, where's my hello? Come on, man. Man. Awesome. Peter joining us, just relaxing a little bit. And yeah, we just want to appreciate you guys for being here. Please, if you have any questions for Justin, let us know, because he has, I'm sure, has some great answers for you. But yeah, so let's get back to that. And first, John said, I really enjoyed when you were on as a guest, Peter. Enjoy the easy part. Oh, I love it. See how we're connecting people here? I love it. This is awesome. But let's get back to that discussion, Justin, about, when we know that the boys and girls are getting loaded up onto planes and headed out, but our mission is over.
Yeah. uh, so just transitioning back.
Or whatever comes to mind for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The longer that you're out, the more you think back, the more you kind of reflect on things. I don't think for very many transitioning's a real easy thing, because you go from all that structure, camaraderie, all that adrenaline rush and the on the go and going new places, to just stagnant, and people in the civilian world don't always react the same as they do in the military world. So it's a different experience. I don't think you ever really maybe adjust to it. I think you just get used to dealing with it.
Yeah. You get more equipped to handle it. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think I myself felt done with the mission for the most part. I think I would have kept just going and going and going, but I wasn't in it like I was before. So and the years have gone by, so it's time to go. But when you get out, it's like, well, I'm used to that for so long. What am I going to do now?
That's right.
So transitioning for me was it was lost for a little bit. It was trying to find, what am I going to do? Look at all these guys that are on these shows, and what do they do? And some of them go into like the private sector with training and shooting. Some of them go into it with this, like podcasts and talking. Some get into like the clothing thing, and there's all different avenues that military people have been taking advantage of doing now. And I don't think I was at that level, but I started small. So the local VFW, asked me to come be the commander there. And so of course, you join the Legion and the VFW. So I started off there. We have a Siouxland Freedom Park here in town, which is like a veteran memorial. So that was something I was asked to come to, because I had an idea with a new exhibit at the park, at the interpretive center. So people were like, well, how do we pick who gets to go there? There's not enough room for everyone. How do we? And so I thought, well, I'll propose some sort of a dog tag chandelier where we get a dog tag machine and make, you can honor civilians, or whoever can honor whoever they want to put up there, if it's people you served with, if it's people who are relatives. And so it's coming along pretty cool, but that was the beginning of it. And I just took off on that. So that was my transition, was that helped to kind of curve the military to civilian life. So I still have one foot in with the, serving the vets, and then 1 foot in the civilian world, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And thanks so much for Doug Adams. We really appreciate your support. Thank you. It means a lot. I went a different route, Justin, and I decided to go completely away from the military. I wanted nothing to do with it. It wasn't that, I didn't still care about veterans, but I think I think you could equate it to like, if you're quitting cigarettes, right? Some people are like, okay, I'm going to wean myself off of it. And other people are like, nope, I got to go cold turkey.
You run from it, you distance yourself from it.
Yeah. And honestly, Justin, I don't recommend it. I don't think that was a wise thing to do. I got really, really depressed, man.
Yeah.
Really, really depressed. So I think that's an incredible way of continuing to serve. And, that's a lot of what the show is about, because I feel like anybody that has served in the military, whether it was just a short, initial enlistment, or you did 20, 24 years, we all do it because we want to serve. There's a part of us that believes in serving something bigger than ourselves. So the fact that you have just poured yourself into everything going on there. I mean, so you talked about the dog tag chandelier. Can you visually kind of talk through or help us to get a visual picture of all the amazing things that you have?
Yeah, at the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the first thing that went up. It was all started by Mike Newhouse, and his vision was to have something for veterans to go to reflect on, and our place kind of thing. So the park inside the interpretive center is all local people. We've stuck to that to have local artifacts, local stories. Outside, we have a half scale of the Vietnam Wall.
Yeah.
It's an exact replica, just half the scale with this. The granite in there is the same quarry as the one in Washington.
Wow.
And so we have Sergeant Floyd Monument here from Lewis and Clark Trail. In Washington, the wall faces one of the angles of the wall faces the Washington Monument. Here, it faces the Floyd Monument.
Yeah.
And they look the same, the Floyd and Washington Monument. We have a Korean memorial, just like Washington. And then, like I said, the inside has a whole bunch of different exhibits or people who have served through all the years. I mean, I think we're putting up something now from Civil War, somebody who was in Andersonville, which was a POW camp from the South, a bad one. And then we have one of our A7s from the 185th from the 80s out front. Yeah, so I started on, I did a lot with the dog tag thing. I did with, I got a Vietnam era Jeep that Sioux Body Shop helped us restore. Complete restorations. Awesome. So it can be a display. It can be,
Amazing.
yeah. So the thing we have going on now is what's really big. And now that I've got my other projects and I'm diving into this, and that's we're doing a Desert Storm, Desert Shield, GWAT memorial.
Wow.
Where's it going to go? It's like it's about 400 yards long, and it'll be about like 150, 200 yards wide. And we fought in the sand, so we decided sand is what we're going to have the memorial in. So it's like it's all still in the works. So some of this can change, but it sounds like to fill it, it'll be about 10,000 tons of sand. Exhibits just going to look like you're coming out of the base, going into whatever it might be, like Fallujah or Bagram. And it's just going to kind of give some sort of perspective. I think we have three Humvees that we're going to line up, maybe flip one over and stuff. And so it'll be pretty neat. It's still in the works. It's really big. And then we have John Duong Dara, who served with SEAL Team 6. And so his is at the other end, his memorial dog park. He was a dog handler, for those who don't know, and he died in Extortion 17. So his is really far away. So we thought we need to link those together. So we're gonna. That's why ours is gonna be so big, because it's gonna go from the back of the Vietnam Memorial all the way down to John.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
that is incredible, Justin. I'm there are Dan Armstrong, what's up, man? Just some incredible people on here with us. I'm so thankful for our listeners. Dan says it's so fascinating to hear the soul of YouTube soldiers. Thank you, Dan. And Peter's got a question. We'll get into your question in a second, Peter. He always has great questions. But I'm wondering if any of you veterans out there, or even Dan, or Doug, like my other people out there, have you guys ever seen like such an amazing memorial?
We're hoping that there's going to be nothing. We don't think there's
I
anything
have
like
to
it.
see something like this.
Yeah.
And then in Nebraska, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, when we went to go when we looked at the makings of the memorial like this for the sand wars, kind of what you could call it, at Washington, it looked like they were trying to be real too creative. We didn't really care for them. With like, let's just make this our own. Let's make it an experience. And some of the questions that came up of concerns was, is it going to be triggering? Well, it could be, but the thing is you're either going to memorialize the situation in these people or you're not. They have the Holocaust Museum. I think you want to put things in the perspective of the best you can in the States, which is hard to do, because it's not just being there. It's you're traveling overseas. You're somewhere where you don't know. You're in harm's way. You can't go home. Like
Yeah.
you're there, you're on an island, basically. So
Yeah.
we just want to give the closest experience we can. You know, soldiers, women, men and women can come there and say to their kids, you know, oh, we saw something like this, or we're in a situation like this, yeah, this is what it was like all around there. So they can share that with others. But
Yeah.
getting back to what I was saying, you know, like the Holocaust Memorial, you know, they want to put it in perspective because they put all those shoes out, you know, to show the mass amount of people. So I think it's important to not always be to not always hold back from the sensitivity stuff, because it's not out
Yeah.
of being mean or insensitive. It's about perspective and honoring and giving people maybe a look into what we saw into our eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so powerful, Justin. And I want to come back to this discussion when we get back, but we've got to go to a quick commercial break. And
Still see the spray painted stop sign when I roll down 79. The drag marks behind that mini mart ain't faded after all this time. Every mad drive from Georgia to California's got a boy with a rebel heart. Stories in every small town scar that by a good old boy taking it way too far. Somebody had to drink too much and crank Hank way too loud. Somebody had to always stand up to the guy with a tendency to run his mouth. The straight pipe Chevy had to run these streets like Bo and Luke in the General Lee. Yeah, somebody had to, and that somebody was me. There's still ruts on Ridge Hill Road, and muddy cans we tossed out the window. String bikini on a limb by a swimming hole. That's a story that'll never be told. Cigarette butts in a busted bottle sitting by that old burn pile. This town was nothing without us, tearing it up every once in a while. Somebody had to drink too much and crank Hank way too loud. Somebody had to always stand up to the guy with a tendency to run his mouth. The straight pipe Chevy had to run these streets like Bo and Luke in the General Lee. Yeah, somebody had to, and that somebody was me. Yeah, somebody had to get a 4.0 full ride, whole life planned out on track. Somebody had to make a touchdown pass when State front page name written in black. But somebody had to drink too much and crank Hank way too loud. Somebody had to always stand up to the guy with a tendency to run his mouth. The straight pipe Chevy had to run these streets like Bo and Luke in the General Lee. Yeah, somebody had to, and that somebody was me. That somebody was me.
all right, and we are back. It's JJ Mahoney with my good friend Justin Merchant. We are both good old Nebraskans. Yeah, Justin, it for those of you who weren't with us earlier, we were talking about the amazing work that he's done with the memorial there in South Sioux City, right on the river of Sioux City, Iowa. And yeah, so I want to come back to the discussion we were having about how important it is to have memorials. And I agree that it can be triggering, but here's the thing. If we don't have memorials, like you said, Justin, where are all those memories going? How are people ever going to really get an appreciation for what people do for them?
Right.
the lives that have been lost,
And I
the
think the
sacrifices.
impact of some memorials, I think it's important. Like I was saying with the Holocaust one, you know, people who were in Pearl Harbor, they either go or don't go to the Arizona.
That's right.
Don't throw a blanket over top of it.
That's right.
So, you know, I think I don't know if I don't know if burden's the right word, but that we carry as vets who come home are, you know, we have to keep remembering, honoring, and
Yes.
so that's what we have to carry. We don't always want to go to memorials, but we go, but we want to go. You know, it's both. You want to and you don't want to. You know, the Vietnam Memorial is, you know, when you break it down, it's just a granite wall with names on it. I don't think the memorial itself is triggering. I think the memories are triggering. You could have a rock out there that says GWAT Memorial,
That's right.
and they're still going to remember the GWAT. And I think that circles back around to when you're talking about transitioning home, because the way I see it as a metaphor is, you know, you're walking down this hallway, and when you think about things and memories, the good ones are easy. Those doors are easy to open. The bad ones, you crack the door open, or they're open. You kind of look from the hallway in, but you keep going. You know, so that way
Yeah.
you don't dive in too deep. It's when you stick your head in the door and you stay too
That's
long.
right.
That's when they
Right.
become worse. You know, that's when it
Yeah.
ruins the day.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And you know, I was watching a good YouTube video the other day, and it was this veteran who had literally traveled around the country, just talking to Americans and telling them, you know, it started with the top 3 things not to say to a veteran. And as he started to grow in popularity, you know, veterans would come up to him and say, "Yeah, I can't stand it when they say this too," you know.
Yeah.
But
You
one
killed
of the
anyone.
yeah, right. No, no, literally.
That's
Uh,
probably number one.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Or what did you do over there?
Yeah.
You know, because I think people sometimes think that, oh, you know, I'm trying to engage with them, I'm trying to
Right.
learn about them. But the
Yeah.
problem with PTSD, or, you know, all the different struggles that we have, is that you can't see them.
Right.
So
And some hide
you
it.
may, that's right. That's right. I mean, I pride myself on not letting people see the worst
Yeah.
of what I've been through. You know, I
Yeah.
pride myself on coming on here and smiling, and
Yeah.
you know, which we could talk about
And I
that too. Maybe that's
I
not
think some
really
people, I think
healthy.
it's good. Some people run from it, and you said that you went the other direction, and you know maybe that is or isn't what you were doing. But sometimes I think those things you just have to take them head on in some cases, and maybe the more you take it head on, you know, I'm not a psychiatrist, but maybe the more you take it head on, maybe the more it's easier to talk about, easier to deal with,
Oh,
rather than hiding. And I don't know, maybe some people it's not, but
yeah, I think you couched it correctly in that it's all a personal experience. But I can tell you, I think there's a lot of truth to that, Justin. Hope y'all don't mind my doggy barking over here
and
too
as a
loud.
vet, that's what we're used to doing. It's like suck it up,
That's right.
take it head on. That's how we were trained. That's how a lot of us live life, and so why not do it with that too? You know, in some cases,
Yeah,
some are more extreme than others, and
that's right. But yeah, going back to that why, it's not a good idea to ask somebody, "Oh, what did you do over there?"
mhm,
Because again, you know, just because I'm not missing an arm or a leg, and you
right,
can't visually see that I am wounded,
right,
you come back from war without wounds.
yes,
Period.
yes,
So that's PTSD, military sexual trauma, TBI, you know, traumatic brain injury, depression, anxiety, insomnia. I mean, the list goes on. And that's why, you know, I'd love for our viewers that are not of the military experience to understand, anytime you're dealing with trauma, you have no idea
mhm,
you could trigger, you know, and a lot of it is intrusive thoughts. You
yeah,
you will not see, but the damage is being done. And on that note, Doug, thanks so much for sticking with us. He says, I want to point out the similarities with retiring from the military in law enforcement. After 45 years of service in the South Sioux City PD, I too had an adjustment. Doug, and thank you for your service. Thank you so much.
I
for
was
your
going to
service.
mention, like, the closest I think anyone could relate to us would probably be some sort of law enforcement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's
And I
that, it's
mean,
that adrenaline rush. It's that constant, and then the same kind of like situations and trauma,
yeah. Yeah, and, that's part of it too. I did a lot of research on the physiology of coming back down from being in an intense environment for so long, is that you don't realize your body is used to operating with so many of those hormones and chemicals. I mean, it's almost like coffee, someone that's addicted to coffee and
all
drinks
of
a pot a day, right? And then just stops. Like
yeah,
that's the same thing with the adrenaline. We start to build up a tolerance to adrenaline because we're so exposed to it
yeah,
that, all of a sudden when you pull us out of an environment where we have adrenaline and now we no longer have it as much, you know, that
yeah.
it's very challenging.
It's hard to find an outlet for that.
Yeah. And again, Doug, thank you for your service. If you ever want to come on and have a discussion about that, I think we could learn a lot from you too. And while I've got us paused here, Peter said, what did the military give you that no one can take away? Wow. You see what I'm talking about, Justin? This is Peter. He always brings great questions.
Yeah. Oh, for me, geez, what does it bring you? Just, I don't know. I mean, there's so much, right? I don't know what to hit on. There's just life experiences. There's structure. It's hard to erase those things that were ingrained into or expected out of you, especially when you get to, you're an officer. Same thing goes for leadership in the NCO world. The senior NCOs, only for a short amount of time, but you just, they can't take away the leadership and
Yeah.
it's everything. I don't even
Yeah.
know where to start on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about leadership. So, one thing that I would say, Justin, for me is the like relentless confidence.
Yeah.
So for example, Peter and I actually, we were in the same company together, and we had an active shooter drill with over 500 soldiers. And so we were simulating coming out, the soldiers all getting released from formation. So you got 500 soldiers, heading off in different directions, and all of a sudden an active shooter comes in. And once you do drills like that, training like that, and of course we do combat lanes, I don't even need to get into that, but once you physically go through situations that are so intense like that and that require a trained response, I don't think you can ever take away the confidence that comes from that.
I think it becomes part of your DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I find myself, this is really bad. This is part of my PTSD too. Anytime in a big crowded room, I'm making plans like, okay, if somebody comes in, if an active shooter
Every
comes through the
restaurant I
door,
go into, it's
right?
at first, my wife's like, you're like, who are you staring at? I'm like, everyone. I'm scanning.
Yeah.
I'm scanning everyone. I'm assessing them. And right or wrong, you're judging people. You're assessing people. You're assessing threats, possible threats, exits, everything.
That's right.
I don't know any vets who would ever sit with their back to a crowd.
No. I matter of fact, I remember I had, Dan's so sweet. He said, you guys have books to write. Dan is an amazing author. Dan's authored like 6 books, maybe even more. He's pretty incredible. But I remember one time at a Costco, Justin, I had ordered a pizza to bring over to some friends, and it was taking a really long time. And as I was waiting there, I just kept noticing it was like super crowded. And all of a sudden I was like, who are all these people behind me? And I found myself literally like plastered up against the back wall. You
Mhm.
know, here's the I don't know what you call it, the serving area where they deliver the pizzas. And I am literally up against the back wall, like looking at every single person. And I mean, I didn't realize it at first. You know, I felt myself getting tense and then it was like, okay, you're
You
in
start
Costco.
tunnel vision, you start
That's
assessing
right.
everything. And with that, a lot of people are civilians. I see a lot there. Oh, you can't judge this and that. Well, yeah, you profile everything and everyone. That's just what you
Yeah.
do. It's instinctive, it's trained, it's life-saving. So
Yeah.
and that's hard to explain that. Yes, every single person that I walk by gets profiled.
That's
It's
right.
it's just how it is.
That's right. And I want to talk a little bit more about what it's like to be a veteran when we come back, but we've got to do a short commercial break. Justin, we'll be back in just a minute.
On the front lines we stand side by side, with courage and strength that we won't let slide. Through the chaos, our hearts beat as one. Each brother's a soldier, into battle we run. When the shots ring out, we won't back down. In the silence of loss, we'll wear our crown. We are soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury, we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood that we've shed. Together we stand, living for the dead. Each step we take through the mud and the pain, memories linger like the echoes of rain. We fight for the fallen, our spirit won't break. In honor we carry their names in our wake. Though the cost is high, our bonds grow tight. In the darkest of hours we'll shine our light. We are soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood that we've shed. Together we stand, living for the day. With every heartbeat, we carry their name. In the brotherhood forge, we'll never be the same.
All right. And we are back with our exciting guest, Justin Merchant. Justin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really
Good.
enjoying this conversation. I'm so thankful we've got some amazing listeners who are joining in. As a matter of fact, John says that hypervigilance that we were talking about before the break, it becomes part of you. I use it weekly, heading up the security team at my church. That's awesome, John.
Yeah.
That
and
is
unfortunately,
awesome.
that's a thing that is not just a stand around job either anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everywhere. And that's why, you know, sometimes people ask me like, oh, you know, isn't it really hard for you? And, you know, it's hard to really answer that because yes, it is challenging when you're constantly vigilant and on the lookout. But in the same hand, that gives me a lot of peace of mind
Right.
because
You
right
have to
when
do
you're
it. It's like an
scanning,
itch. You have to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's this feeling of like, you know, I imagine most of us, and I can't speak for everybody, but I imagine most of us feel similarly, that when I'm scanning and I'm assessing, I'm confident
Yeah.
because
Yeah. I
I'm
don't care if
paying
people see me staring at them.
That's right.
I'm not thinking about that. I'm looking past them. And I think, to add to that, with like, even with these conversations that we're having, you know, I feel like a lot of us, I'll say me for sure, it's like walking a tightrope
Mm,
between letting yourself go there mentally and not,
mm,
because we're answering questions military wise, and um, a lot of things come up. So these things are very, when you're talking PTSD and all that, these things are very stressful.
that's right.
You don't show it on the outside. You've learned
That's
to
right.
cope with it, but on the inside, you're like a knot,
Yeah.
and it's like flexing nonstop when your brain is stuff up, and I think it's exhausting for a lot of people. Not in a bad way. It's just part of the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I had 2 Mondays ago, Justin, I had a really not great experience. I was at this retreat where we were learning how to take our stories and turn them into, like keynote speaking engagements, and just how to get better at telling our stories. And the guy delivering the training, um, he was telling a story about how his roommate had picked up a loaded gun off the counter and put it up to his head. And, of course, as he's telling the story, he literally he's physically grabbing a gun, and he walks straight up to me, staring me straight in the eye, and put the gun to my head. And I didn't know what happened. It was I got caught in this moment, like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I reminded myself where I was, right? I'm like, okay, but what happened after that, Justin, was as time kept going on and he kept teaching the class, I kept having these flashbacks of him walking over and putting a gun to my head. And my mind was remembering it as it was real, as if he had a gun to my
Yeah.
head.
That was a real
And
threat.
yeah, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse, like by the hour, and to the point where I finally was like, you know, uh, it was not good. And after that, Justin, I had to leave the retreat. I did not feel safe.
Mhm.
It was a really horrible experience, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but the next 2 weeks, I couldn't really function.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last couple of weeks have been
Yeah.
pretty
So a lot
hard.
of people, like the one question from, I think, John, it was, what did you take away from it? We try to think of the good things, but there are other things that we take away too that aren't good. A lot of people, it's not hard to snap easily. It's not hard to
Yeah,
to snap at someone, to be impatient. I'm very impatient. I expect it now, type of thing, because that's what you were expected to do over there. It was like that. So there's a lot of things that uh, aren't always positive that we take away from it too, that we
yeah,
had to deal with nonstop.
yeah.
Not not ripping into people for no reason, or being impatient and things like that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you, Justin, that that was part of your experience and the nature of how we had to operate then. But I would also tell you, I don't know how much research you've done into the physiology of the human body, but when we carry that type of stress, it is almost impossible for us to maintain a equilibrium that normal people maintain.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people will look at us like, oh, what an ass, or
Yeah.
um and they don't understand, like, it's even more than just what we experienced over 20 some years, 2 decades of life,
Mhm.
right? It's literally how we are,
It's
it's what
almost like where nature nurture becomes one. The nurture of the military becomes your DNA, which is more nature. I think I don't read a lot of books on the psychology of things. I just try to, analyze myself or situations when I feel a certain way. I kind of step out of the box and try to explain or understand why I'm
yeah,
being like that. And sometimes you are, and you just, there's no stopping it. It's just, like I said, it's like an itch. And you just,
yeah,
if you're mad at something, you just got to get it out. And,
that's
and
right.
then, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I will tell you, Justin, I highly recommend finding a good therapist or counselor. I was skeptical at first. I mean, I put it off for years, almost 10 years, even though I knew I had some serious stuff going on in the background. But I was amazed, Justin, that as I was working, and I'm unfortunately, talking like it wasn't till about a year and a half or 2 years of going to therapy every week, so it's not a quick process,
Yeah.
but, I didn't even realize, like, I had no control, kind of like you're talking about, like, I would go from 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds.
Mhm.
And my poor family. Oh, my poor family. But it gets better,
Yeah.
It really
I
does,
think
Justin.
they have the luxury of being, I mean, I don't want naive to be such a negative word, but
Yeah,
safe, naive, they don't have to carry that we did. So
yeah,
it's kind of a luxury to
it
be
is.
relaxed.
Yeah,
You know?
it is, and, I had talked about this the other day for Memorial Day. I was saying, "Hey, I get it, people are busy, so maybe you don't even know really what Memorial Day is, or maybe you don't know the difference between it and Veterans Day, and, you know, we could get offended, but what's the point? People are busy. They all have their own lives, their own, drama and challenges they're dealing with. But that's why I'm so grateful when I do have friends or family or listeners, that aren't veterans, but that tune in anyways. Because the more that you can learn and understand, the more that you realize, like, if you know that somebody is a combat veteran, for me, I have a little bit more patience with them, a little bit more grace.
Yeah, I don't think there's some who can do that. I think some they'll just they'll never get it, and it's not their fault. Just there's no way,
Yeah.
and that's like when the first time you come home and friends say, hey, tell us some stories from there, and you tell them, and you've experienced you've experienced it, you've felt a certain way emotionally, whatever it was, and you tell them, and they're like, oh man, that's crazy, and you're not getting the feedback that you expect out of the story because you visually saw it and experienced it, physically experienced it. They're just hearing a story. They're probably desensitized to it because of Hollywood and movies and just not being there. So I think that's from me analyzing that situation. I feel like maybe that's why a lot of vets don't tell
Yeah.
stories because it hit them a certain way. It meant a certain thing to them, and when you tell it and it's received lightly, it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm just not gonna tell this anymore because that made me mad that they didn't see it the same way. It's not their fault, they can't, but it doesn't change that you're still upset about how it was received. And maybe it's more
Yeah.
than that. Maybe they just don't want to talk about it, like I was talking about with the doorway thing. They just don't want to go
Well,
there.
that's why I think these conversations are so important, just because I know you and I, when we were just having an offline conversation, we had kind of talked about this. And, I've been experiencing being a combat veteran for almost 25 years now, my first deployment. And I look at my experiences interacting with civilians. And until you explained that, I never could put a finger on it. I could never really, capture the feelings that I was having or why it frustrated me so much. But hearing you explain that, I was like, yeah, yeah, that's it. Because I'm talking about, arriving to a place and literally hearing on the radio that my battle buddies on the same exact road that I was just on, all of them getting killed.
Yeah.
The
The closest thing they think they can relate is movies, which don't
Yeah.
really depict it that well. I mean, that's their experiences from back here,
Yeah.
and that's their luxury, is to not have to have that. It's a luxury, but it's also, I would much rather be on this side of it, even with
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
I just feel more alert, more aware, more, the way I want to be. I don't want to be a sheep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, uh, this let's take one more comment before we have to go to commercial break. But John Herring says, you can't unlive your experiences. They are very shaping in your current person. The hardest part for me was relearning to be present in the moment in the post-service environment. Yeah, that's so powerful. And we'll come back to that in a minute, Justin. We look forward to seeing you guys in just a few, right after this commercial break. all right. We're back. It's JJ Mahoney here with Justin Merchant, and you are listening to or watching or both Lean Into Legacy. So, Justin, I am really curious for you. What does legacy mean to you?
Well, I would say it's anything positive that you can bring to the table to leave after you're gone with friends, family, community. I'd say anything like that. Your empire, whatever you want to call it.
And what does your legacy look like, Justin?
I'm hoping it's not done yet, but so far, I'm hoping the kids are still fairly young, but I'm hoping it shows them, to serve in some capacity, honor and all those good things. Push on, don't be a victim. Dig in, move forward. If somebody, my favorite thing is when people say that you can't do something. It's like tunnel vision. There's no stopping to prove them wrong. Just to say,
Yeah.
I don't care if I had to go through all this. I just proved you wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, Justin, I mean, there's always that feeling of you didn't think I could do it, I did it.
Yeah.
But also the self-worth that comes out of that. Like for me, doing hard things, it just builds confidence.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sucks. A lot of times it's not fun. There are scars that we carry with us that will probably never go away. But those scars, we can look at that and, almost every scar that you have, whether it's something that you have on your body or something, that stays with you in your mind, you can look back to that experience and see just what amazing lessons came out of it.
Yeah. And you're more confident, I think, because you carry a certain kind of knowledge and experience.
Right.
So
What would you
can be
tell?
confident in what you say and do, and that's how we were trained, and it's having that, and the reason we can deal with this and not always show it on outside is because of that military bearing that's been instilled into us.
Absolutely. I'm curious what you would say to somebody who may be listening and maybe they didn't serve in the military, or maybe like Doug, they didn't wear a uniform for 45 years. What would you tell them about legacy?
Oh, I think it comes in all forms, and a lot of people you hear say, I never served, but I wish I would have. You always hear that a lot, almost as if it makes them better or like they're lesser because they didn't, and ashamed or whatever. But I think you use what you're good at, you use some of the same core values, and I think you can have the same outcome in a different way. They're not hardcore values. They've been pressed into us pretty hard through what we do verbally. But I think if you instill those into your day to day, and I've always had people like Marty Hogan, who he was I hope I don't get it wrong. I think he's a major at the 185th, but he said the goal of this park, for example, to leave it better than when you found it.
Yeah.
So I guess you leave the world better than when you found it, and you should have a pretty good legacy, no matter if you're military or not.
Come on, man. That's really good, Justin. That's really good. And, unfortunately, I think what we see a lot today, especially in America, is ingratitude, complaining, victimization,
Entitlement.
entitlement.
Yeah.
And I just like to ask somebody that struggles with that, and appreciate you, John. I'd like to ask somebody that struggles with that, what type of life would you prefer? Would you prefer focusing on everything that is miserable in your life and that you have no control over? Or would you prefer to look to the horizon, understand that you have the ability to make a choice and a decision and take action and know that you have some control over what's happening to you? I don't get it, Justin. I really don't get. I mean, I think it's like an addiction.
Right.
People that have suffered, and I get it. I
I
get
think
it.
sometimes people, because of the entitlement, they expect things to be handed to them, and I think they expect situations to be solved for them. So I think a lot of times it comes off to me, and this is profiling things, but very lazy, very entitled, expecting everyone else to do it for you, handouts. So I think when they get knocked down so many times, they're just like, why get back up? I'm just gonna get knocked back down anyway. Might as well just stay down here, where we don't always think like that.
Yeah, and I think, that's one thing I'm pretty confident that in the military, most people learn you have control over what's going on.
Mhm.
Now, that
Could be a
doesn't mean
product of parenting, current culture,
yeah,
things we're
yeah,
exposed to around here. Things got
yeah,
real relaxed. The structure kind of went away with parenting. There used to be a time when, and I'm sure teachers were different too. And my mom being a teacher, I always kind of noticed this, but there was a time when we were younger where, and before us, where a teacher would say something and the parents would back the teacher. Now the
right.
parents back the kids, and they go there taking the kids' side when and I don't know, every situation's different, and teachers are maybe different, but at least from our era, if you ever got something sent home from a teacher,
That's right.
my parents weren't going to back me on it.
No, I completely agree with you. I
So
completely agree.
maybe
And,
there's
and then,
maybe it's just a complete lack of accountability for kids, and
yeah,
they grow up with that.
yeah. I mean that there's so much going on in the world that is frustrating that could definitely be improved. But again, like, you know, how fun would it be to sit here on this episode and talk for 2 hours about how miserable things are? I'll
Yeah.
never forget this image, Justin. I was an Arabic linguist, so I went to the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California. Beautiful, beautiful base overlooking the bay. And I'll never forget this experience. Like it's ingrained in my mind. And, we had to go running every single morning for PT. And I remember I'm running up this beautiful hill, and it is really rooty. I don't know what the right word is, but there's lots of roots sticking up out of the ground from all the trees. And I'm like, I had a big fall. And so after I had that big fall, I'm just like literally, I say literally a lot. I just noticed that. But I'm staring at the ground looking for the next root to come, right? And I finally paused for a minute because I saw this like glimmer, and I looked up, and it was the most magnificent sunrise I'd ever seen in my life. And I just had this like realization like, wow, yes, there are roots in the ground. And yes, they can be painful when you trip over them. But if you are just focused on worrying about the next bad thing that's going to happen, look what else you might be missing.
True.
I never would have seen that. If I was stuck in that mentality, Justin, I would have missed that sunset or sunrise completely because I just would have been so worried about, oh, there's another route. Better make sure I don't fall again, you know?
I think it's common as a metaphor that people walk around with their head down a lot more than they walk with it up.
Yeah, I don't know, I want to encourage people that are listening. I want to encourage um, anyone that is struggling, that's having a hard time, to let you know you're not alone. Oof, we all are going through our own things, you know. I mean, you can hear that Justin and I are veterans, and you can make an assumption like, yeah, they probably had some rough experiences, but I think that's also the challenge right now, Justin, is that we're all so focused on our own challenges and our own struggles that we just assume nobody else is feeling it. And I think you'd be amazed, if you slowed down and didn't judge someone so quickly, and it took time to, God forbid, have a conversation. You might
Yes.
find out, yeah, we're not alone. We're not alone in pain.
Just different.
Yeah, I like that. It's just different. It's just different. And I think that's one of the amazing things about what you are doing over there with the Siouxland Park, the memorial, Justin, is that you are opening up the door for many conversations.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is the community is rallying behind it, what little they know about it. It's not like there's no renderings out there for people to see. We have a few, but I've really found out that they just got to be asked and they're willing to help. They can't help if they don't know what you have going on. So I've had a really good positive experience with asking local businesses to be involved and stuff, and they have. I don't
Wow.
think I've had very many that haven't been able to. And if they can't, it's just, it's just a thing where they just can't. But pretty much everyone has.
Wow, that's so awesome. And I want to get back to that in a minute. But we've got to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Well, to a hero, I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. And to a hero, and the love you left behind, I'll try my best to pass it on till the end of my time. And to a hero, you're gone, but I have no doubt that you have made it home. And to a hero, taken way too soon, over there in that dusty country, an Afghan afternoon. To a hero, and the little one you left behind, I hope he grows up with your passion, I'm sure he will with time. And to a hero, a warrior through and through, you were taken way too early, what can we do? Well, we can try to keep your spirits alive, we can try to be nice, we can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. To all the heroes taken from our lives, at home or in those countries, fighting for what's right. Now we can do this for you and all your kin, and make this world a better place for your kids to grow up in. And we can try to be true, admit when we don't have a clue, and be there with the ones we love until our time is good and through. And we can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Yeah, we can try to keep your spirits alive, and we can try to I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. All right, to a hero.
And we're back with Justin Merchant and your girl, JJ Mahoney. Hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. You're listening to and watching Lean Into Legacy. So, Justin, speaking about legacy, you guys have a special event coming up. Is that correct?
Yes, at the park, we're getting ready. It's a little early, but we're getting ready for our Siouxland Freedom Park Ball. It's kind of more of a banquet now than a ball, but that's still what they call it. We decided to have a guest speaker who's I'm friends with, Debbie Lee. So she is, some people in the community know who she is, but she's a Gold Star mother of Navy SEAL Mark Lee. He was showed in that movie American Sniper, friends with Chris Kyle, and he was the first SEAL to die in Iraq in '06. So she's going to be speaking on her experiences with handling that. I think one of her messages is, you know, it happened. Now what am I going to do with it? Type of thing. And we decided to have some local Gold Star families from the area come, get them tables there, and then you know, of course, silent auction. The point of the ball is to have something of awareness for us, but also to raise money for our ongoing memorials and events. So this one will be for the first phase of the new desert memorial that we're going to be doing.
Wow. How did you guys come up with that idea?
Well, they were looking to see who the next speaker would be, and a lot of people automatically think veteran. Let's have a veteran speak, and we had Bobby. I can't remember his last name. He got burned up pretty bad overseas. He's a common speaker around, and I said, well, you know, we might be the trunk of the tree, but there's a lot of branches to this. I said, what about other aspects of the military family? And that would be the people who didn't sign on the dotted line, but were forced to sign, you know. So we came up with them, and then, you know, we went on because we have the Duangdaras are a local family that they lost John. So, you know, his sister was highly involved in that, and so she's kind of spearheading the getting the Gold Star families and using her avenues of contacts that she has for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think there's no greater appreciation than to that of the family, because at the end of the day, you know, we can't do what we do if we don't have people at home taking care of business.
Right.
And holding up the fort for us. And, you know, even before I was married, I was single when I went to Iraq and Afghanistan. And, you know, my mom and dad played such a huge role in my sanity and taking care of me, and supporting me and being a attentive ear when I needed to vent. And, you know, sometimes garrison can be just as hard. You know, when you're not deployed, it can be just as challenging. And without the people that love us, supporting us, none of us could do what we do. We really couldn't.
Yeah. And then, you know, with them, that becomes when you become a Gold Star family, you know, that becomes that's kind of your image now. That's who you are now. There's expectations, there's questions, you know, with what you were saying before, where people will talk about things. You know, when I heard a Gold Star mom talk at Memorial Day ceremony at Freedom Park, and I've noticed this a lot. People are like, wow, that's a really good message. And that's one of the first things I think of, but it's also, wow, I'm shocked they got through it. I always think that, like, I'm impressed how they got through it, because I would have a hard time getting through something like that, you know, speaking on it. So, yes, I'm impressed with the message, but I'm always impressed. And the first thing I think of is, holy cow, they got through it. Or are they going to get through it with what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Debbie, you know, I don't think she expected to be going around the country talking about her son. And that's also the other thing of putting your head down and facing it head on. She could have
Right.
crawled in a hole and drank and whatever else, but she took it head on. I'm sure it still affects her, but at least something comes out of it
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, Justin, it goes back to the conversation we were having just before the break, how are you going to choose to live your life? Because we all have horrible things that happen to us, horrible things that we experience. So the main question though that each of us has to ask ourselves at one point in time is, are we going to let this define us? Are we going to pick up our head and find a way to move forward? And the really powerful part is if you can find a way to help somebody on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping, I think it's going to be a pretty impactful, pretty emotional ball. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad I knew her, and I'm glad I thought of that to have her come on, because it's just a different outside the bubble aspect of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And what kind of help do you need, Justin? I know there are people out there that are
sure.
thinking, how could I get involved with this?
Right now we're trying to fill the tables. I think we have room for 600 people. So,
Nice.
the more people there, the more awareness, the better. If people are not from around here, they want to donate a table to either veterans who can come out and have that night to experience, where, they're not as fortunate to be able to pay for something like that. There are those options. There's also options to pay for a Gold Star Families table. We're trying to set 2 families of 4 each at each table.
Wow.
And then just anything with the donations that go towards the new memorial that we have to do, or any silent auction items, which, if that's the avenue you would want to go, we raise money for. It's all raised for the new memorial.
That's so powerful, Justin. And again, I would recommend to anybody listening, even if you're not from the area, make a trip to Nebraska. It's actually a pretty beautiful place. There's not a whole lot going on. I think it's nice and quiet. It can be very peaceful. And the area where the Freedom Park is just gorgeous, right alongside that river. And I just want to highlight John's comment here. It says military families are amazingly resilient. Spouses and children didn't volunteer. They got drafted. That's a
Yeah.
great way of putting it.
Voluntold.
Voluntold. That's right. Thank you for that, John. And, it's so powerful when you hear a good speaker that is able to convey the challenges that they experienced and overcome. And I think Debbie is just going to be amazing.
Mhm.
And I think all of us can use some perspective in our life. So for anybody out there that is in the South Sioux City area, or Omaha, anywhere in Nebraska or Iowa, or even South Dakota, you have to come to this event. It's going to be really powerful. And Justin, are you sure you want me to put your information out there for everybody?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So Justin is, excited to talk to anybody that's willing to get involved, that wants to come help, that wants to donate, that wants to come to the ball. Or like he said, perhaps, gift a table to some veterans who couldn't necessarily afford it on their own. And this is Justin's contact information, Justin Merchant at kw.com. And his phone number is 605-759-6464. And just give Justin a call. And he's a pretty great guy to get to know as well. Uh-oh. You can't hear Alexa, can you?
So no.
Okay, good. I think that's a good thing about having a microphone. I'm always worried. There's always things going on in my house and I'm like, can everybody hear that?
I know. I had to hide. I told the kids, just go upstairs, go somewhere, So for it to be this quiet in the house, it's pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take them out for ice cream or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
do some type of
Sometimes
celebration.
I do feel like I'm in a war zone with everything going on. It's just a war zone where no one's listening to what I'm saying.
Oh, man, I can imagine. All right, well, it's that time again. We've gotta take a quick commercial break, so we'll be right back after this.
Bar stools, cigarette smoke, where the dive bar band's playing all the wrong notes. Them dollar bills still hanging on the wall. This ain't no place for her kind at all. She had them red bottoms on in this blue collar town. There's only two reasons why girls like her come around. She either took a wrong turn back in Austin, or she's looking for love cause she lost it. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the mood right under the neon moonlight. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. Sunsets and sunrise nights have never been my thing. Hell, they might just be what I need after all. Hell, you can't find love till you fall. She ain't used to red dirt roads, but for what it's worth, feel like home in the middle of this old bench seat. Every song brings it closer to me. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the mood right under the neon moonlight. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the moon right under the neon moonlights. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. Single this summer.
And we are back with Lean Into Legacy with JJ and Justin Merchant. Justin, welcome back.
Right.
So we've got a little bit of time left, and I'd like to focus our last few conversations on what you think could be most helpful to people who. When did you retire?
2 years ago.
So people who are in your shoes where you were 2 years ago. Maybe some
Find
lessons
something.
learned.
Yeah, find
or
something to do for sure.
Find something to do. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have to find something to do, and it depends if you feel like I'm good, I served, I'm just gonna blend in. That's fine. And if you feel like I still feel like I need to do something, I still have the passion and energy to do something, then you just need to do it. If you think it and it's just a thought and it doesn't go any further than that, then, it might eat you up to not do it. You just got to act on it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And it's just like the military too, right? The worst thing you could do if you get ambushed or you're facing the enemy is to do nothing. That's
Yeah.
the worst thing. Always lean towards action, right? And I think I struggle with that, Justin. I honestly do, because because first of all, I was not being honest with myself.
Yeah.
Everybody said it was going to be a challenge, and I don't know. Not to say that I thought I was better than anybody else, but I guess had this false sense of, I don't know, that transition wouldn't be hard,
Mhm.
that it wasn't going to be challenging, that I could just jump into another thing and everything would be fine.
Yeah.
And for me, Justin, I took what I was really good at in the military, my skill set, and I decided to start my own business. And I really believed, like, okay, this is my new mission. No, it's not.
Mhm.
A mission is not just making money.
Yeah.
It can, I guess it can be, but for me,
It can be an
when
objective, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And it's not something bigger than yourself. Yes, it feels good to help people to get their businesses started and to give great advice and guidance, and to get to see the fruits of that. But at the same hand, it's not the same as being willing to put your life on the line for your brothers and your sisters.
Right.
That
And we
nothing
should know better
compares
than
to.
anyone that life's short. So you got to do what you want. Because when people ask other people, from my experience, when you ask other people, oh, should I do this? I was thinking about doing this. And oh, I don't know. Not many people make it. It's pretty hard. It's blah, blah. Well, I don't know. They're either being protective or they're telling you what they would do. Maybe they're not ambitious people. Maybe it's not something that they are interested in. So they wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it. So uh, at the end of the day, they don't have to live with the results of your decision. You do. So you might as well just do what you want to do and stop asking people, because it's just a stall tactic to getting it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. John Herring says, get involved so you can maintain your own relevance. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And if I'm getting real, John, I remember, Justin, there were months that I would walk around in the morning and literally just say, God, take me. I don't have a reason to be here anymore. And unfortunately for me, one of the biggest mistakes I made was isolating myself. And because I live in Texas and my family is in Nebraska and, all other states all over the country, it was really easy for me to just retreat into my own little world where, I didn't answer phone calls. I didn't answer text messages. And as much as people cared about me, after so many unanswered text messages, you just kind of move on, you
Mhm.
know? So I think another bit of advice.
You imprison yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so easy to do. Um, especially if you go my direction and you're like, no, I'm not gonna focus on the military. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
focus on finding veterans. But that's a problem because you don't realize it. But as a uniformed personnel, you are surrounded by other military service members. So you're never alone. But I
Right.
don't think we
Right.
ever think about that. Like, at least I didn't. It was just such a part of my natural everyday experience that I didn't think, oh, I don't have all these people with me now. And instead, I just retreated into this isolation and really believed the lie that I was going through what I was going through completely alone and nobody else in the world understood it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
It's easy
guarantee,
it's easy to sit down and do nothing. It takes no effort.
Yeah, and I recommend that to anybody listening, anybody going through a transition, anybody going through a hard time, whether it's divorce, your kids are leaving the house, you're becoming an empty nester, you lost your job, or you're getting ready to start a new adventure. Any type of significant transition or challenge, there are other people going through the same thing. And I promise you, you will find comfort in knowing you're not alone.
Yeah. It's hard. You don't always realize it, what's going on.
What do you think also helped you, Justin, other than, getting involved and being part of coming up with great ideas for the memorial and, the dog tag chandelier? Like,
Yeah.
what were some other personal things for you that helped you with your transition?
I mean, I have a lot of hobbies that I bounce
Nice.
around to, so that
Yeah, that's
helps.
good.
You know, definitely having family around doesn't hurt. Anything that can distract you from negative thoughts
Yeah.
is a good thing. And if you induce more and more positive endorphins, then serotonin, then you'll eventually climb out of it. You just can't
Yeah.
stay down too long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. I find it ironic that, for, I don't know, 21 and a half years, every single day started with working out. And yet when I transitioned, that was one of the first things that I took a break on,
Oh yeah. You're like,
you
oh
know, and
yeah. I took a break on saving.
yeah. And it's like, part of you is like, oh, I'm not going to run today. Oh, it feels so
Yeah.
good to just sleep
Because
in.
that's the one thing, like when you're in the military, everything is so structured for you and everything is told, and you follow this and follow that. And for once you're like, man, I wonder what it's like to not be told what to do, to just do what I want to do. And not that you don't have the freedom to do mostly what you want to do, but I mean, there are restrictions, there's expectations and guidelines that just like people are like, if someone's like, I want to get out because I'm just sick of, I want to grow a beard, and they're like, you get out just because of that. It's like, you don't know how big of a thing that is for a guy to not, I didn't get to grow a beard till I was like, what, 42? The first time I grew one was when COVID happened and we didn't have to go to the base for a few months. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna see what happens. And I was like, okay. And then I started that really the COVID time frame is when I started really thinking like, yeah, I'm kind of done. I did my
I'm kind of
time.
over this.
Yeah.
Just shaving every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Just to
think
be
a
able to
lot of
have even your days, your weekends, whatever, to yourself,
yeah.
to be able to plan ahead without being like, oh, when do I have to go do this or that?
Yeah. It's a good feeling. It's definitely
Yeah.
a good feeling.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, but you always are
Yeah.
gonna miss it. But I mean, that's like losing somebody close to you too, you're always gonna miss them, but you gotta move on. I mean, you don't have to forget about them, you just gotta keep going, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, I think that's a great point, Justin, because, um, you know, that's what we learn from any challenging experience is if you get stuck in it and you get stagnant, that's when it gets difficult. But if you have something to look forward to, something that you're invested in, it just helps you to keep moving forward and keep that positive momentum. And
Yeah.
it
Even
works
if you get
either
that
way.
tire, even if you get that tire spinning with whatever's making you happy, then eventually, the other one will start spinning too, and other things will daisy chain to help you out,
Right.
to look up for you, positive.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Justin, we are coming down to our last commercial break. So we will be right back after this.
Love what you got, why you got it good. Always just a little misunderstood, but I never tried to change you, even when you're drunk all day. Every time you break, oh, it breaks my heart. Watching you drown yourself and fall apart. You're killing yourself, and it's killing me to have to say. Oh, it hurts so much, 'cause I love you. You were my best friend. You were my muse. The story with a good end. My rhythm blues. You were my soulmate. A damaged man. And I paid for it. As much as I think I can. And I thought in the end you'd miss me. But I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. I've heard it only hurts 'cause you love so deep, letting you go after all the cheap shots you take of me and Jameson. Your daddy don't help, no, he feeds you lies, and you're wondering why you can't sleep at night in the bed I made. Oh, I thought you were the one, 'cause you were my best friend. You were my muse. The story with a good end. My rhythm blues. You were my soulmate. A damaged man. And I paid for it. As much as I think I can. And I thought in the end you'd miss me. But I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. Oh, it hurts so much, 'cause I love you. And you were my best friend. You were my muse. A story with a good end. My rhythm and blues. You were my soulmate. A damaged man. And I paid for it. As much as I think I can. And I thought in the end you'd miss me. You and I would be never ending. But I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. Oh, not stronger than the whiskey.
All right. And we are back with Leaning into the Legacy with JJ and Justin. Welcome back, Justin.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed this conversation so far. You and I had a chance to talk a little bit before we actually went live, and you were explaining what you have on the wall behind me. Can you tell our listeners if you can describe it, and then also point it out to our viewers?
Sure. This is kind of like my great grandpa's corner. Somehow, some way, my great grandma didn't really keep a lot of stuff. So for this to all exist is crazy. But they found this boot camp photo from 1944, which is cool.
Wow.
And these two certificates over here, one's a Gold Star citation from the Legion, and because he died over in Operation Market Garden in World War II, and then the presidential memorial kind of certificate his shadow box, his original Purple Heart and certificate, and then the letter written home to my great grandma. And along with that is the last picture that my grandma had with her dad sitting off to the corner there. So he was a 82nd Airborne 325th Glider Infantry Regiment. So he was basically a big fabric and metal plane with no engine tied to the back of a C-47, and they would just release it and let him glide down to the ground and get out and fight.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, I'm very curious, when did you learn about your grandfather's service?
My dad's always been into history and military history a lot too. So I'm like a huge history nut. I always knew that he died in World War II. I knew his name was Tommy. Other than that, I didn't know a whole lot. Grandma would always say that my great grandma would always say that he died in a glider crash. And as I got older and I got more interested in being in the military myself, I'm like, I got one of those headstrong ideas. Like, I'm going to start figuring out where all the stuff is of his, like, answers. And, they had a fire at the National Archive for military. So their common response is, it got burned in the fire. So looking for his stuff, just being in the history, I'm like, so he died November 3rd in a glider crash, but the last gliders flew in September 27th. So how is that a thing? I think it was just easier for my grandma to deal with. But we were looking for my daughter's stuff at my parents', or my baby stuff for my daughter's baby shower at my parents' house. And there was a cardboard tube. And in that was some of these certificates, and this one here, which was a letter home saying that he died holding a defensive position by enemy artillery, which is, most likely an 88 or something into the trees. If you ever seen Band of Brothers, where some of them hit the ground and blew up, some of them were timed, where they blow up in the air and cause more havoc with blowing down and trees and stuff. So somewhere in there, and he died November 3rd and they got off the line on the 12th. So anyway, I dug into it for like a year, and I ended up getting in touch with some guys from the 82nd from World War II through the 82nd Airborne Association. And I came really, really close with a guy named Jesse Oxendine. And he has an interview online somewhere with some North Carolina archives, military archives or something. But really cool guy. He's like a surrogate grandpa. He became super close. And I'd go visit him all the time. We talk on the phone like every other day. And so he passed away a while ago, but I'm still close with his son. We talk every now and then, comment, text. So it was a cool experience to meet Jesse and kind of learn about who they were and what they did and stuff. And that was a time when, like Jesse said, when the war got over, we were still on patrol, and we would walk out into this field, three of us, and he said there was some trees out there, and you could tell it was like some sort of mesh net over top of them, and there was tracks going out there. So they went out to discover, and he goes, I just thought it was the weirdest thing that this plane didn't have any propellers on it. And it was like, an early German jet. So he didn't know what it was because it was an early jet. It was crazy time, but I love that kind of stuff. And so then, I took that overseas knowledge from Jesse, knowledge from what I've learned. And, when we went to Germany, I was like, rental car, or going to Uzbek, to the Netherlands and checking it all out. So it was fun.
That is so exciting. I had no idea all that was going to come out of asking a simple question.
Yeah. And Marco, the one who took me around, he wouldn't let me buy anything, lunch, dinner, any books, anything like that. And then he took me to the place where Grandpa was temporarily buried at temporary cemeteries. And then he was sent back home. So he's at Graceland in Sioux City. But for 4 years, he stayed in that temporary cemetery. So I went there. I went to where the Fox Hill, where the area where he died in. So it was cool. I'm the only one that's been over there in our family to see any of that.
Oh, Justin, that's so incredible. And to me, this just brings us full circle to, the amazing work that you guys are doing over there at the Siouxland Freedom Park.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, think about how much you had to dig to find all that
Right.
valuable information.
Yep. And Marty digs like that all the time to help these families who only know very little to dig into it. I mean, for him to find Civil War information on a guy who was from Dakota City, um, who fought and was in Andersonville. So if you're curious what Andersonville is, it was bad. It was a bad area. And it was a bad POW camp, in the Civil War.
What would it have been like for you to have a memorial that actually told the story of your grandfather?
Oh, that'd be cool, but I mean, off the cuff, you're like, oh yeah, I would do something like that. But then it's like, I feel like it would be taking away from everybody and all of what they did, because his wife, my great grandma, she was a Rosie the Riveter.
Oh my
So if you know about
God.
World War II, there was a lot more support on the home front. Car factories, sewing machine companies made M1 Grands. They made 1903. They made pistols. They made bombs. Ford made planes. International Harvester made rifles. That's like a tractor company. Typewriter companies made pistols. Sewing machine companies Singer made pistols. Like everyone chipped in and did something. So knowing history like I do, it feels a little awkward to have it just about him,
Yeah.
isolating him out of it. I'd like for him to be a part of a bigger memorial, but
Yeah.
not as his own.
Yeah. I mean,
This is his memorial.
that's such a cool perspective, to always be thinking bigger and thinking about who else was
Right.
involved and who else was supporting. And for me, I think that's why these memorials are so important, because we need to be able to capture their legacies,
Yeah.
and we need to celebrate them. And again, I think it's so easy for Americans to get complacent with, everything that we have at our fingertips. It's like you start to take it for granted.
Yeah.
And for me, there is nothing more powerful than walking through a memorial like that beautiful one that you guys have established, the Siouxland Freedom Park, to just really take some time to reflect.
And I think in France and in the Netherlands, I can speak mostly for Netherlands, for the current generation that are in grade school and above. This is passed down, the appreciation. These guys are just bonkers about being appreciative of those guys and of us, and they continue to still honor them with all kinds of things. These people who who adopt these graves, some of them are passed down from their family to them, and they're expected to go out there and different times, but I don't think they ever have to. The expectation is to do that, but I think they do it willingly anyway. Christmas, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, their birthday, the day they died, any excuse they can, they go out there. Some go out there all the time, and I've heard of a lot of them writing correspondence back home to the family. So it's cool. Yeah, I had some cool experiences in the cemetery that my grandpa would have went to.
Wow.
Going out there to visit that. One lady with a walker, she was with 3 friends. She could speak English, the other ones couldn't. She asked if I was American. She asked if I had someone here that she would visit their grave. I said no. He got sent. He got sent back home. He was in the Mook Weilerbahn area, but he would have went here. And she was translating this to them, and they ended up pulling, what is it, €5 out of their pockets. They wanted me to get them flowers.
Wow. Wow. Well, Justin, I'm so sad. We've got to close for now, but I just thank you so much for your service. I thank you for everything that you're doing for the Siouxland Freedom Park and to honor the legacy of our veterans. And I just know there are so many other people out there that appreciate you just as much as I do, Justin. And so I just thank you for your continued service.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, y'all. I
Yeah.
hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever it is for you all over the world. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
And all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.
Was that it?
Yep. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
And all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.